Back in college, my chosen area of study was audio production. It was the career I wanted at the time. Since then, obviously, I've fallen in love with learning and development, but it does mean that now when I watch a video or listen to a podcast with, iffy audio, it really gets on my nerves. However, I also get that audio production is a tricky thing. It's equal parts kind of dark art, actual art, and science, plus a bit of technology mixed in. Is it the microphone? Is it the acoustics? Is it the speaker? Is it bad editing? Is it kind of usually a combination of all those things? Yes. But there's a really cool set of new tools coming out from, of all people, Adobe, really focused on podcasts. This was previously called Project Shasta. It's now called Adobe Podcast, and it's officially in beta. Let's take a look. So when you go to podcast.adobe.com, this is the site that you're greeted with. Right now, as I said, it's in beta, so we have the option to request access to the beta, and we have the usual kind of our vision and some kind of very non-committal advertising pieces. But one thing this does show us is that this appears to be a suite of podcast-focused products. From mic checking to AI-powered audio, right the way through to transcription. It looks to me that Adobe are trying to create like a one-stop shop for podcast creation. Now, although this is in beta right now, and you better believe I've requested access, there are two quick tools here that I think are just fantastic, and I wanted to take a look at them and share them with you. The first is the mic check. So if we come up here to quick tools, we can see we have a mic check. When we click that, what it's actually going to do is prompt us to record a little bit of audio, and then using what they describe as AI-powered audio tools, although to be honest, I think it's just a sort of pretty simple piece of software in the background really for this one at least, is it just lets you know, are you the right distance from your microphone? Is the gain set correctly? Where's the background noise and where's the echo? This is phenomenal. This is the kind of tool that I think a lot of people could do with when setting up home setups. Because, let's face it, most people do not have the benefit of a class about acoustics or understanding the difference between foam and board and insulation and soundproofing versus sound absorption versus sound disruption. So, using this tool is super easy. You just click test mic and you read out the statement. Let's do it now. How is my microphone setup and placement? So as you can see, once you've done it, we just wait for Adobe to come back with some results, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not too surprised to see everything green here. Good distance from microphone, I know my microphone. The gain is right. Again, I've spent the time to get to know my equipment, so I know that the setup works and then I don't move it. Background noise and echo are low. Well, they should be. There's acoustic treatment in this room. But the key thing is that if you don't have all that dialed in yourself, this gives you an ability to dial in and try again, to alter a setting or move to a new position or a new room and try it again. These sliding sort of gauges will really help people dial in a better original recording because, and I've said this before and I stand by it, I was taught this a long time ago by professional audio engineers, if you record rubbish, there's not a lot you can do to fix it. Maybe by the end it will be passable after some fantastic editing, but if passable is what you're aiming for, well, maybe you should be aiming a little bit higher. Now, the other tool that they have ready to go and that you can use today is actually like an AI audio cleanup tool. So let's go back up to Quick Tools and go to Enhanced Speech. Now, enhanced speech seems to be a kind of AI-based noise and echo cancellation software. So a little bit similar to NVIDIA Voice as part of the NVIDIA broadcasting software. But for that, of course, you need to have like a 20 or 30 or now 40 series NVIDIA graphics card. Pricey if you don't already have or need one. This is a free tool if you have an Adobe account. So earlier, I recorded a little bit of audio with the window open to make sure I had some background noise coming in. It was nice and early, so the birds were out and cars were racing up and down the road. And I've run that file through this audio cleaner. Now, what I'm going to do is load both tracks up into Adobe Audition so we can see the waveform side by side and hear the difference. Before we do that, just real quickly, here's how to use the tool. You simply come over here, open up the upload button, you select the file you want to put through it, you hit open, and off it goes. There are no settings, no selections to make. It simply judges what it needs to do itself and does it. Now, once the enhancement is complete, you're able to preview it with and without the enhancement active. That's really important. You can give feedback. That will really help, especially if this is like an AI product as we've seen elsewhere. Feedback will be vital. So if you do use this product and you get something that you're not happy with or that you think could be better, do take the time to give feedback. But then downloading it is as simple as hitting the download button, you get the file. So let's pull up those two files I spoke about earlier, the same recording, but one enhanced and one still the original, and see what we can hear. So here we are in Audition with the two files loaded. Now this top one, as you might be able to guess, is the original, and this bottom one is the enhanced audio. Now, one thing I'm immediately noticing just from the waveform is the fact that the enhanced audio is much more compressed, clearly gone through some kind of normalization and compression, which is interesting because those are some of the steps that I would usually go through when manually editing. So I guess the question is there, without any EQ, or I would assume without any EQ, maybe when we listen to it we'll realise they've done that as well. Will the tone of the voice have been flattened? Will we have lost some of that kind of human dynamic that we often hear in a voice that you don't necessarily get with kind of automated AI editing so often? So let's see what we can hear. First of all, I'll mute the enhanced version and we'll just play the original recording. Unlearning is simply not a thing. It is not a cognitive process that exists in the brain. And now I'll mute that and bring out the enhanced version. We do not unlearn things, we learn things. We expand our knowledge, we do not delete parts of it. Whilst we do forget things. And then let's go back to the original for the last little bit. This is not an outright deletion of information. Okay, so interesting. There's clearly a lot of background noise that has been removed, and that's fantastic. I suspect what has happened is that this seems like it's gone through what's called a noise gate. Basically, it identifies a whole bunch of frequencies and says anything below this, cut it out. And that's kind of fine. But you can kind of hear, even in the enhanced version, if I pull that back up, if we go through, do forget things, this is not an outright deletion of information. There we go, you can still hear the birds. And that's not that much of a surprise, actually, because as silly as it sounds, birds are a really tricky thing to get rid of if you capture them in a recording, because their kind of chirrups sit in the same frequency range as the higher end of the human voice. They sound a lot higher, and they are a lot higher to us, but the actual frequency sits within the range of the human voice. And that's very problematic to remove, because if I start cutting out entire frequencies that exist within the speaker's voice, they're going to start to sound a little bit weird. Now, speaking of sounding a little bit weird, let's just go back and listen to the original recording again. Just to start with, unlearning is simply not a thing. And then the enhanced version. Unlearning is simply not a thing. You might be able to hear it, you might not, but I can certainly notice that my voice is very flat. The dynamics that I was speaking about before, they're not gone, they're still there, but it all just feels a little bit muddy. That said, this is impressive stuff. That's removed a huge amount of background noise, and one thing it's done very, very well is normalize the volume throughout. You can see just by looking at the waveform in the original, I can be loud and quiet and soft and quiet and then big and loud again, and this has done a fantastic job actually of evening up that waveform. Now, what I'm wondering is, if I were to bring the volume up on the enhanced track a little bit, how would it sound? Unlearning is simply not a thing. It is not a cognitive process that exists in the brain. We do not unlearn things. Pretty good, actually. Let's go back to the original. We learn things. We expand our knowledge. We do not delete parts. We do forget things. This is not an outright deletion of. You know what? I'm pretty impressed. There's definitely some more I'd want to do with this. I think I would probably want to do some kind of EQ work on this, just to try and bring it back to life a little bit, add in some of those frequencies that, to my mind anyway, it's slightly lost. But actually, I think for the absolutely no effort that took to clean up, that's phenomenal. That's the kind of tool that allows people to go from background noise, bit of echo going on, to actually being able to create a really nice sounding podcast or video. Again, with no effort. Just uploading the audio file, waiting for an AI to do the work and downloading it. Now, when I was at college, I mentioned this earlier, I was studying audio production, and the very kind of earliest AI audio editors were kind of around. Some of the assistive audio editors, or the kind of auto heal functions were coming along, and the auto denoise functions, and they were dreadful. Like, you did not use them, because they flattened and destroyed everything. They would cut out random frequencies. Audio is not easy. Audio is not always logical. Voices we do occupy a set range, but it varies massively. And more challenging maybe than the actual frequency range, as I mentioned, is the dynamic of the human voice. Unlike an AI voiceover, a human speaking and being recorded performs. We make decisions in that moment. When to pause, when to add emphasis, when to change the pitch or the pace. AI may struggle to deal with that, certainly used to struggle to deal with that with auto editing. This is, I've heard far worse jobs from people who have spent a long time manually editing audio. So I think this is a phenomenal little tool. And I think, being AI, it will only get better. The more people use it, the more data we put into it, the more feedback we give it, the better it will become. So, Adobe Podcast, if it's something you think you might use, let me know in the comments. What projects have you got coming up that you might want to try this on? Do you want to try your hand at audio editing, but you've never quite got round to it? Well, maybe you'll never have to. You'll just be able to give it to the Adobe AI. Or maybe not. Perhaps you disagree with me and you think this is awful. It's certainly not perfect, but let me know what you think in the comments.